It was August 20th, 1966. A boy flew a kite in the hills of Niterói, Brazil. The air was quiet. The grass was high. That's when he saw something strange. Two bodies side by side, half hidden in the brush. No blood, no wounds. Each man lay flat on his back, dressed in formal suits and waterproof coats. But something was off. Over their eyes, lead masks, crude, handmade, cut to shape like welding goggles, but expressionless. Next to them, a water bottle, 2 towels, and a tattered notebook with scribbled diagrams. There were no weapons, no signs of violence or panic, just stillness, just decay, and the sense that something had happened here, something no one could explain. The men were identified as Miguel José Viana and Manoel Pereira da Cruz, electronics technicians from the inland town of Campos dos Goitacazes, nearly 200 kilometers away. They had told family they were going to São Paulo to buy supplies for work. Instead, they bought lead sheets, raincoats, towels, and a bottle of water in Niterói. They were last seen alive at a local bar. A waitress remembered one of them looked pale, jittery, like someone trying to hide the fact that he was afraid. Later that day, they hiked into the hills of Morro do Vintém. No one followed. No one saw them again until the boy's kite string led authorities to their bodies. But the strangest clue wasn't the scene, it was the note. Found in their possession, in their own handwriting, were the following words. 1630 be at the specified location. 1830 ingest capsules. After the effect, protect metals. Wait for signal. It read like ritual instructions or military protocol. No capsules were ever recovered. No containers. No evidence of ingestion. Toxicology was never completed, either due to bureaucratic delay or because someone didn't want it completed. The phrase protect metals confused everyone. What metals? And from what? Radiation? Energy fields? Or some force so otherworldly it needed shielding? The masks, built from lead, suggested intention, not madness. Investigators later found detailed instructions and measurements in a notebook, plans for the masks, diagrams of circuits, scribbled formulas. The same notebook contained erratic phrases, fragments of prayers, and a line that read, Lord help me, part science, part religion, part desperation. The police interviewed their families. Both men were known as electronics enthusiasts. Quiet, intelligent, obsessed with their work, but nothing suggested a dangerous double life. However, their friends revealed that the men had been fascinated by spiritualism. They regularly met with a small group that explored psychic communication and electromagnetic fields. There were rumors they'd attempted spirit contact through radio waves, convinced they could receive divine signals through tuned frequencies, that the masks weren't protection, but preparation. Some believed they were waiting for an event, a transformation, that they'd ingest capsules and cross over to another plane, guided by a signal only they could hear. And then there was the weather. A violent thunderstorm passed over the area that evening. Some say it was just coincidence. Others think it was part of the plan. The men weren't rich. They had no known enemies, no debts, no shady dealings, and nothing of value was missing from the scene. Not wallets, not watches, not even small change. The local police struggled with the case. Resources were limited. Toxicology samples were never processed. Files were misplaced. Some think it was incompetence. Others whisper cover-up. Investigators found tools, resistors, and circuit parts back home, stacked next to books on magnetism, spiritual energy, and obscure physics. Nothing illegal, but definitely not ordinary. A theory formed. This was a DIY experiment, a fringe attempt at transcendence using crude tech, spiritualism, and unwavering belief. But belief in what? Another clue added to the mystery. A friend later claimed Miguel had mentioned a great mission, something they were planning, something he couldn't talk about, but hinted would change everything. No one knows who led them into the hills, whether someone instructed them to go or whether they followed instructions from something they believed was higher. The idea of a cult emerged. Brazil in the 1960s was filled with spiritual groups, blending Catholicism, mysticism, and imported ideas from science fiction and New Age movements. If they were part of such a group, it left no trace, no other deaths, no hidden compound, no known leader, just silence and two bodies in the dirt. One theory suggests they were manipulated, that a charismatic figure had promised them revelation or contact, only to abandon them after a failed ritual or test. Another says they were experimenting with a hallucinogen, LSD or something similar, and believed the signal would come once their consciousness had opened. But again, no drugs were found. Others believe they were killed elsewhere or posed in the field, that the masks and note were a cover. But if it was murder, where was the motive? Why no signs of struggle? And what about the storm? Could it have damaged something? Interfered with the signal they were expecting, or killed them via an unexpected surge of atmospheric energy? There were no burns, no lightning strikes, but both bodies lay as if they'd simply shut down, calm, side by side, as though they knew it was coming. Over the years, UFO theories grew louder, that the masks were meant to protect them from blinding light, radiation emitted during alien contact or dimensional transition. It sounds absurd, but then again, the case itself is absurd, and to this day, no rational explanation is ever fully accounted for what happened. The hillside remains quiet. Locals still avoid it. Teenagers dare each other to climb it at night. Some say their phones flicker when they reach the top. Others say they feel watched. The masks are long gone. The men were buried without resolution. The police closed the file. But journalists never stopped asking, and the questions keep growing. Why lead masks? Why a signal? Why wait? And what, if anything, did they think they were going to see? The lead masks case lingers not just because it's unsolved, but because it resists understanding. It's about death, yes, but also belief, delusion, and the edges of perception. In the end, only the image remains. Two bodies in the grass, eyes covered in lead, waiting for a signal the world never received.